Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between, well, what I'm going to be calling I Can Be Cool, going up against GodFather here on Tide Hunters version 1.2. For all of you guys wondering where I've been for the past, well, week and a half, I have some family visiting from out of town, therefore it makes it difficult to try and find time to cast games, and hopefully this game does not disappoint. It does come recommended to me, and well, if you guys wonder how I'm able to find so many great games out there, it's because of Replay Watchers, WarCraft 3 info. Yeah, you guys know who you are, who give me great games for me to try and just piece together and really maximize my time. So thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down. We can see human over here on the top left-hand side of the map in the red shorts. Meanwhile, GodFather spawning as the blue undead over here on the bottom right. Now I'm starting to doubt myself for a second. Let me make a quick check. Yes. Excuse me. A game getting underway should be a great game, as well the game is getting started. Let's go ahead and just jump to that 2-minute mark. It looks as though it is going to be an Altar of Darkness delayed, which oh wow, Dreadlord first. So a Dreadlord first going up against an Archmage. The Dreadlord timing actually indicates more of, well, not a graveyard first, so it isn't Crypt Means. I'll have to keep a close eye on this particular build. Not quite sure what to make of it, as we see a little bit of separation here, going straight after that Forest Troll High Priest, trying to take it down as quickly as possible. Don't let it give inner fire or heal too much to any of those other targets, as it does get taken out. Now switching targets, going after that Rock Golem now, perhaps going after the Mud Golem next. A second Water Elemental already down. That's going to be tanking a little bit more damage. Devotion Aura picked up by the Archmage, preventing a little bit of damage across the entire human army, as we look at the militia now finish off this Forest Troll Trapper creep camp. Alright, more damage still being added in here. The peasants, with their slow attack speed, but with their superior numbers, should be able to take down this Forest Troll Trapper without any problems. Alright, one more attack. There it goes, picking up also a Cloak of Shadows. Level 2.5 already. Meanwhile, that Dreadlord doing a very fast expansion attempt, going after a gargantuan sea turtle creep camp. This is a 7/4/4 creep camp, which will drop a very powerful consumable item. But what's more important here is that it's clearing out a relatively difficult orange creep camp this early, just with ghouls and skeletal minions. That's going to be very strong here, as we do see Sleep and Carrion Swarm as those abilities. So GodFather opening up with Dreadlord first, and it is a delayed Dreadlord first. That Altar of Darkness was a little bit delayed. We can see that it was a Crypt first, hence the higher ghoul count than normal, as we're going to be seeing, well, most likely a footman falling asleep on the job, only to get woken up and completely surrounded. Meanwhile, though, what is happening inside the main base? Well, Archmage putting in pressure. Ghouls are coming off of the line here. They're going to try and back away. Remember, Scroll of Town Portal now Staff of Teleportation inbound. We're going to see perhaps a Carrion Swarm trying to rip through back here, and this is going to be a fair amount of damage. Dreadlord going to be in a lot of trouble. Has to be very careful. There's a quick sleep onto the Archmage. Archmage got up to level 3 during all of this craziness, as the Dreadlord is continuing to battle it up here. Is he going to use another Potion of Greater Mana, perhaps to put in more pressure? Yes, he is. Archmage may find himself in a little bit of trouble here, as the ghouls are now trying to back up. Low hit point footman also backing up here. We're looking at the ghouls, while on Blight, have very good regeneration. Are we going to see another Carrion Swarm rip through all of these targets? That is the question now. That's a bunch of low hit point footmen. There goes another ghoul Archmage sitting at 3 1/4, and we're still looking at perhaps more damage here. All right, there goes a Carrion Swarm. That's a lot of low hit point ghouls now, and a lot of low hit point footmen. Are we going to see a dead footman? Yes, we are. There's one dead footman, a bunch of low hit point ghoul or footmen. Those footmen have to be very careful. They cannot stick around in this fight whatsoever. The Dreadlord could have racked up, perhaps gotten to level, gotten to a little bit more experience, and then thrown down another Carrion Swarm. That would have been a problem. However, GodFather set up another Necropolis here. This means that he's going to get full saturation on this gold mine very, very easily. The Acolyte now back on Blight, down to dead, as the, well, Dreadlord tries to fight back against all of these units. Are we going to see some damage? Yes, sleep onto the Archmage. Archmage, however, does have a Cloak of Shadows, drops another Water Elemental, and we're going to see some, well, high damage coming across again. All right. Looking for that Nerubian Tower to finish off. Once that Nerubian Tower perhaps applies a little bit of slow, problems could arise here as the Footmen are trying to chase after that low hit point Ghoul. Meanwhile, another low hit point Footman. Footman now going to get taken down. Dreadlord gets a little bit of experience there. More damage still getting racked up across the board here as the Dreadlord trying to find a little bit more experience, a little bit more mana. And if he can get a level 2 Carrion Swarm, he could be able to blow over that Archmage as well. Skeletal Minion quickly gets cleaned up here. Footman down to 102 hit points. Dreadlord trying to back away, back at 218 hit points. All right, so a very unorthodox game so far. Low hit point Ghoul about to, well, find himself sub 50 hit points, 29. Are we going to see another final shot here? Dreadlord going to try to get some damage onto that Archmage. Archmage down to 59 hit points. Are we going to see a Carrion Swarm? No, we are not. The Archmage now down to, well, 65 and decides against it. Decides to Scroll of Town Portal away as the Ghouls are now here at the expo, and they may be able to harvest a bit of lumber and while offer a bit of protection at the expansion, while the main base itself is also teching to tier 2. Tier 2 nearly already done by the human player though. Arcane Tower 37 over 48 supply compared to 33 over 50. Dreadlord trying to find it, well, find some damage, does, well, disrupt a bunch of healing. Another Scroll of Regeneration used right there, so, well, that's a little bit more use again as the Dreadlord now teleports back home. Are we going to see perhaps pick up another Sacrificial Dagger? Well, doesn't have the Graveyard yet, and without the Graveyard, doesn't have a Rod of Necromancy charge to use on a skeleton to try and do a little bit more cleanup. All right, Water Elementals. Water Elemental here. We can see that the Archmage is already pushing across the map here. Dreadlord trying to clean things up. We should see a Rod of Necromancy, perhaps a little bit of healing across all of these units. Dark Ritual Dagger, and that's going to be some damage. However, the Nerubian Tower already taken down, and the Fire Lord by Ikbencool already in play here. So a fast tech to or a tech to tier 2 and a Tavern Hero now in order to place down incremental pressure. This is a big deal indeed. The fast tech to tier 2 by the human player allows for a Tavern Hero to be brought onto the battlefield at the 8-minute mark. The Fire Lord definitely used here for pressure as we're looking at a Scout Tower and then perhaps a Guard Tower to follow up. No Lumber Mill. Yeah, well, I take it back. Lumber Mill now being placed down as the Fire Lord trying to place down pressure onto some of these buildings as they're trying to get constructed. Graveyard is now done. Nerubian Tower suffering quite a bit of damage. And what is going to happen here? Well, if you can't win by defending, I guess you can try and launch a counterattack, and that's what's happening exactly here. A counterattack going back the other way. Carrion Swarm ripping through, taking down one of those peasants already. Another peasant about to get taken down. Dreadlord sitting at level 3. Are we going to see another Carrion Swarm? No, the Arcane Tower does find that Dreadlord. A little bit of micro there as the ghouls are just fighting across the board. All right, another Carrion Swarm could rack up a little bit more damage. We can see another Arcane Tower getting added in here. The Necropolis nearly done. Archmage trying to run all the way back. Fire Lord looking to finish things off here, finishing off the Spirit Tower. Acolytes are just desperately trying to repair. Goblin Shredder now joining in on the fight here. Ghouls getting taken out, and this is just an absolute bloodbath. All right, Dreadlord, Scroll of Town Portal getting out of dodge, heading back across here. A couple of Acolytes being brought back home. Fire Lord has no way out. Fire Lord has no way. No, Goblin Zeppelin. Are we going to see the are we going to see, yes, the elevator right there trying to, oh, Goblin Zeppelin about to get taken down to 70 hit points, able to escape away. Dreadlord still has a little bit of mana left. Are we going to see another Carrion Swarm? Both sides are still fighting their way through. Goblin Shredder about to get taken down. Wow, Carrion Swarm takes down the Fire Lord, the Goblin Zeppelin, and the Footman that was inside. So he got knocked out of a Goblin Zeppelin, fell to the ground all dizzy, and the Carrion Swarm was there to finish him off. All right. And still here, Arcane Tower is looking to take down the Necropolis and also this haunted gold mine. Main base of Ikbencool, protected by one water elemental, and that is it. Acolyte's going to get taken out here. There goes a lava spawn, and now the Dreadlord with Wand of Negation gets a sleep onto the Archmage. Archmage, Cloak of Shadows, followed by Dust of Appearance. This was all planned. Wand of Negation quickly taking down the water elemental. Oh, are we going to see damage? Are we going to see damage? Dreadlord trying to go after the Archmage. Archmage down to 88 hit points. And wow, able to break free. Goblin Zeppelin there to pick up the Archmage and live to fight another day. Haunted Goldmine about to get shut down here. And well, we are now at one base play, both sides at tier 2 at the 11-minute mark of this game. But this game is anything but your traditional game so far. You can see, well, GodFather sitting at 20 over 20 supply. He lost a fair number of Ziggurats, trying to summon them up a little bit more now. Does have full saturation on this gold mine. There is one gargoyle wandering around here. Dual arcane towers at this expansion location. Interestingly enough, well, can be very well defended here. Archmage looking to finish off the remainder of these Murlocs as the Fire Lord going to use a Scroll of Regeneration most likely. Yep, and then perhaps jump inside that Goblin Zeppelin. No, Archmage could get to level 4 here in just a moment. A new Fire Lord Lava Spawn quickly summoned up here. Water Elemental needs to be brought over, and well, some attacks being thrown down as well. Level 4 on the Archmage is going to be key. Level 2 Brilliance Aura, most likely in store, which means more mana for that Fire Lord. As the Goblin Zeppelin, well, picking up and dropping that Footman right there. So over and over, trying to make sure that that Gargantuan Sea Turtle keeps on spinning around to attack the that Footman there that, well, constantly disappears. Ghouls running forward to take down the Arcane Tower. This can get cleaned up easily, but we are looking at 32 supply compared to 24. Low hit point Ghoul down to 30 hit points, down to 8. He's going to get taken out. Not enough regeneration to overcome the focus fire of those arcane towers. All right, Lava Spawn now making its way over here. Another Ghoul could get taken down. That could be a major, major setback as we're looking at the, well, Dreadlord sitting at level 5. He does have Soul Burn. That is going to be incredibly important, but that, well, Dreadlord is solo heroing right now. Takes down one peasant, takes down another, finally takes down the third. And what is going to go down here? All right. Dreadlord trying to back away. There's going to be some more negation again. Perhaps a carry-on swarm. No carry-on swarm. Does not have a 1 mana ceiling. That's on the Fire Lord. So perhaps the, well, Fire Lord, yeah, used a charge right there to prevent the Dreadlord from being able to carry on swarm, as a couple of peasants now make their way back down. 20 supply compared to 34. Water Elemental sitting off over here. Town Hall quickly getting constructed. Halls of the Dead, 90 seconds or a little bit more than 90 seconds until that is completed to Black Citadel. Army size, very small indeed, as the Goblin Shredder now going to try and, well, harvest a fair amount of lumber too. All right, Dreadlord finds the position here. There's a big carry-on swarm. Solo Dreadlord causing problems. One peasant down, another peasant down. Final peasant going to get taken down there. Footman perhaps going to get taken down. Are we going to see a carry-on swarm? Waiting to try and finish it off. No, doesn't get the carry-on swarm. There's the carry-on swarm. Wow, that Footman somehow stays alive as we see that soul burn happening here. All right. Wand or a potion of mana could turn back around, quickly quaff that potion, and then, well, perhaps try and finish off that Footman and that Rifleman. I don't even know where I picked up the phrase quaffing a potion. I don't know. Any mud fans? BB bulletin board mud fans from back in the day? Yeah. Anyways, coming back through here, Dreadlord getting ready to put in pressure. There's that carry-on swarm, nearly removing a good chunk of hit points here. Dreadlord still has a good amount of mana. This could potentially be game-changing if both of those heroes are taken down again. That Dreadlord does gain bonus experience and could gain even more if the opportunity is ripe. Let's go ahead and finish off to these units. Carrion Swarm, Goblin Zeppelin nearby. We're looking at that, Dreadlord figuring out what exactly it tries and wants to do. And are we going to see a Carrion Swarm? We are not. Do we see a Gargoyle? There was a Gargoyle earlier. No sight up onto the high ground. Rifleman going to get taken down here. There's a Carrion Swarm ripping through a little bit more damage. There goes a Lava Spawn. And, well, the Fire Lord and the Archmage now trying to get away. There goes another unit again. Dreadlord now looking to back up as the, well, Spellbreaker was able to jump inside that Goblin Zeppelin. I thought there was a Gargoyle earlier. Perhaps the Gargoyle was taken down already. Obsidian statue here. And now that's going to be able to provide hit points and mana onto that Dreadlord if necessary. Dreadlord looking to finish off this Water Elemental. Little bit of damage over time. That Water Elemental going to jump up onto the high ground, perhaps aggro those creeps. And then once it aggroes those creeps, try and get finished off. There's that Carrion Swarm. There's a boulder to the Dreadlord. Dreadlord could take a little bit of axe damage, but able to back up again. Dreadlord getting dangerously close to level 6 for that ultimate ability. Meanwhile, one Arcane Tower still holding defense there. GodFather could be in a little bit of trouble. There is a Gargoyle. That Gargoyle is going to try to hide off on the side of the map again. Does not want to reveal itself, as that could cause problems. Well, if more Zeppelin play does get underway here. All right, a second Slaughterhouse getting trained up. All right, so second Slaughterhouse, perhaps more Obsidian statues and more Destroyers, or perhaps even Abominations. I can be cool. Well, currently trying to creep out more creep camps, perhaps win with an economic advantage, as the Archmage and that Fire Lord still trying to level up. Tome of Intelligence +2 not picked up here. Dreadlord's just going to say thank you very much. If you're going to leave it to me, I will go ahead and take it. Dreadlord now with more intelligence than strength right now, with that Mantle of Intelligence there, as the Dreadlord makes his way off to the north. All right, are we going to see more Carrion Swarms? We are seeing the Griffin Aviary right there. A Dreadlord unable to get through, and it knows that with the Arcane Tower... Wait, what's that? Arcane Sentry just finished being researched. There's a Carrion Swarm. Does take down one peasant, and now needs to back away. Archmage not going to be able to get any real damage on there, as the Dreadlord back at home now needs to figure his options. All right, these Obsidian statues actually trapped behind the buildings here. Are these particular trees going to get cut down so that the Obsidian statues can join in the battle? Or perhaps, well, we'll see what happens. All right, Dreadlord getting ready to engage here. There's Obsidian statues hiding in the backfield. Crypt, another Ghoul joins in on the fight here, and are we going to be perhaps looking at more Carrion Swarm again? There's a Destroyer, there's a little bit of damage, no absorb mana, and we are going to go for a fight. Dreadlord, Carrion Swarm, ripping on through, now going to drop back down. Dreadlord could be in a little bit of trouble. All right, Dreadlord able to sneak through here, and there's some absorb mana. So one Destroyer with full mana getting ready to fight here. Meanwhile, Destroyers trying to take down. Goes another Carrion Swarm. Dreadlord does have another potion of mana. There's some more Devour Magic again. The Crypt about to get taken down as the Dreadlord gets up to level 6. All right, level 6 Dreadlord means that we could see an Infernal fall from the sky. And, well, there goes that Infernal from the sky. There's going to be some more damage again. There's going to be some more Devour Magic onto that Water Elemental, as damage is now racking up onto these targets. All right, Infernal does... well, deal damage by being hazardous to your health just by standing too close to it. Rifleman also getting cleaned up. Water Elemental is getting devoured. And, well, with the Dreadlord's Carrion Swarm, coupled with the Devour Magic, well, it doesn't seem like the Riflemen are able to do enough damage, as the Destroyers are able to heal. All right, Dreadlord looking to back up again. Infernal still looking to deal more and more damage again and again. Are we perhaps going to be looking at the Infernal chasing down that Fire Lord? We are. I believe the Fire Lord is just slightly faster. All right, a little bit more damage again. Destroyers relatively low on hit points. Need to back up. Obsidian statues in the backfield. There's another Crypt being placed down here, And, well, we're still seeing a little bit more damage. That Dragonhawk Rider does get taken down. Are we going to see more Devour magic onto that Dragonhawk Rider again? Or, excuse me, onto that Water Elemental. Units backing away. There's a little bit of a reveal. Goblin Shredder clearing out some of the trees here. And, well, that Water Elemental about to get taken down. There's going to be a little bit more Devour magic. One Water Elemental gets taken down. Level 6 still on that Dreadlord, nearing level 7. Triple Obsidian statues, not even going for a third hero yet. There's a Destroyer. Well, the Destroyers could try and slow that Dreadlord. Quickly just going to get Devoured magic, and now giving level 7 to that Dreadlord, who does have bonus experience. 30% bonus experience already at level 7 here at the 21-minute mark of this game. More Absorb mana. Destroyers trying to move out. What is this what is this Dreadlord looking to do? Perhaps land a Carrion Swarm again. Obsidian statue going to try to dive in here. There goes a Carrion Swarm. There's going to be a little bit of damage. Gargoyle going to get taken down. Dragonhawk Riders are right there. And here you are. There's a little bit of splash damage again as the Obsidian statues try to provide enough mana for that Destroyer. Low hit point Obsidian statue could get pummeled down quickly as the units are retreating again. There's another Carrion Swarm, and mana is going to be the key question as the Dreadlord tries to chip away at this Dragonhawk Rider army. No Animal War training. We are looking at dual Griffin Aviaries, a workshop now getting added, perhaps for some flying machines, as the Archmage looks to get to level 5. And where is that Paladin? Well, right there. Needs to get a little bit more mana and really get up to level 3 for a stronger burst heal. 42 over 50 supply compared to 61 over 64. Human running up on 2 bases with the main base nearly mined out. 2 minutes of mining left versus 3.5 minutes of mining. Remember, GodFather took a lot more harassment early on and has been playing a game of economic catch-up since then. Also, we can see that the expansion here, 7,500 gold has been mined compared to the 9,840. Here, as we see another Carrion Swarm rip through. All right, so Carrion Swarm ripping through. Infernal coupled with that Carrion Swarm, enough to deal a damage and finish off all of these peasants pretty much. We're going to see another peasant get taken down, and now some chaos damage onto this town hall to perhaps try and take it down. One low hit point footman still scouting out at the Goblin Laboratory. Main bases, well, 1 minute of mining left versus 2.5 minutes here. 48 supply compared to 57. GodFather here with the economic advantage, but ever so barely. All right, footmen here getting taken down. 55 supply now. No more scouting needed. We're looking at this town hall about to get destroyed. Is it going to be enough? Down to, well, 74, 35. It looks like it will end up falling. So now that is going to be a big setback for the human player as the Dreadlord throws down another Carrion Swarm and rips through much of the hit points on those heroes. We still don't see a Death Knight as a second hero, even though 200 hit point burst heals would be effective at keeping that Dreadlord alive. Solo Dreadlord, quick Infernal. Well, trying to make short work. Archmage will get to level 5 off of this creep camp. Waiting for it. There we go. It could be a 5-4-2. Paladin still needs a little bit more mana. Archmage hasn't chosen a third ability yet. Brilliance Aura, or there it goes, another Carrion Swarm. A couple more peasants going to get taken down. There's a Holy Light to try and save. There's one Staff of Sanctuary on the Fire Lord only. Archmage doesn't have anything, neither does the Paladin, except for an Ankh of Reincarnation, so he can get knocked down and get back up again. Human now trying to set up an expansion here at his opponent's expansion location. However, an Infernal going to make short work or stall this attempt a little bit more, and that can, well, add a little bit more problems. Meanwhile, Dreadlord, is he going to... Oh, wow. Nearly takes down more Dragonhawk Riders. That's going to force a walk back there as the Dreadlord has just been buying potions of mana like it's going out of style. All right. Last peasant here about to get taken down. It falls. Infernal down to 118 hit points. Are we going to see a carry-on swarm? We are. Infernal does end up falling. The Dreadlord does have enough mana for another Infernal. Once he uses that potion of mana, perhaps going to try to summon it from the sky again. There is also an Orb of Corruption. There goes a carry-on swarm. That's going to be a little bit more damage. There goes another, and he really racked up the damage right there. All right, down to 136 hit points, 138. Is he going to try to summon up another? That Soul Burn really preventing the summoning of another Infernal again. Level 8, that level up, giving a little bit of extra mana once more. All right, did we see a Staff of Teleportation? We did. Dreadlord now back at home. Going to get a little bit more mana and then move out with the majority of his army. The Dreadlord has pretty much been fighting solo for so long that I don't know if Ikbencool can really, well, fathom how large the Undead army is. There's a Holy Light there. Little bit of damage. There's an Infernal. Going to go ahead and summon things down. Cause problems. There's a quick web onto a Dragonhawk Rider. And, well, air is no longer an option as a couple of Crypt Fiends stalling out that effort already. All right, Spellbreaker's there. There's a sleep onto the Paladin. Paladin not going to be able to get in a big heal. Are we going to see a Goblin Zeppelin? No, no Goblin Zeppelin. Lava Spawn's going to get cleaned up here as all of these peasants could get cleaned. All right, all of these peasants going to get shut down here. Goblin Shredder could get taken down. Yeah, it falls relatively fast. No big heals there. More Devour Magic as the Dreadlord tries to dodge its way through. Down to 267 hit points. This is where that, well, Death Coil could make a big difference, but no Death Knight as the third and final hero. There goes a carry-on swarm, just blindly firing behind him, blind firing around a corner, hoping that it hits that Paladin, and the Paladin is unable to burst heal or burst Holy Light that Dreadlord. Spellbreaker, Staff of Sanctuary for a save, level 5, level 4, level 2. Paladin still seems to be okay. Meanwhile, Destroyer's finishing off all of these peasants as we see the Haunted Gold Mine now getting well, constructed and summoned here. 50 supply compared to 31. Human in some trouble now. GodFather, who had been behind for so long, now in great control of this game. His standing army just that much stronger. 50 over 70 supply compared to 30 over 52. Solo Dreadlord looking to deal a lot more damage again. There goes another carry-on swarm, and it does pick or tick off of that Paladin a little bit as well. All right, Dreadlord now gets up to level 9. We're going to see this Haunted Gold Mine. It is not going to be able to be summoned. There's a quick cancellation. There's Holy Light as well. Archmage gets up to level 5. Carry-on swarm ripping through. We're going to see some more damage, and there's still more damage again. All right, Dreadlord trying to back away. There's a Staff of Sanctuary. Firelord wakes up in time to Staff of Sanctuary back the Paladin as the Dreadlord now makes its way back again. There's some Obsidian Statue. There's a sleep onto the Firelord. Firelord going to try to break free here without the Paladin, though. No burst heal, and the Firelord is now taken down. Dreadlord still going after that Archmage. Dreadlord needs quite a bit more mana. 50 supply compared to 19. No more haunting of that gold mine. And we're looking at 50 over 70 supply, getting in a little bit more gold again. Perhaps that little bit of gold can translate into something as we see GodFather check the 12 o'clock location and knows that the expansion is not up and running there either. All right, Paladin kind of stuck behind his friendly lines here. Needs to try and break down this arcane tower. Meanwhile, Destroyers, Crypt Fiends, and an Infernal knocking on the door of the workshop, about to get it taken down as well. All right, that's going to be some big damage again. We're looking at the Dreadlord just trying to rip more damage onto this workshop again and again. Workshop down to 235 hit points. Crypt Fiends, well, still trying to chip away at the hit points of this building and perhaps just that much farther. There goes an Infernal. Infernal going to be able to take a good chunk out of the buildings as well with that chaos damage. 49 to 60 always deals full damage there, as the Altar of King's Resurrection not going to amount to very much. Guard Tower quickly taken down. Magic damage against heavy armor, well, means bonus damage, and that's exactly what you're seeing guard tower and arcane towers falling at the hands of the destroyers. The destroyers just outclassing sheerly by numbers. All right, Dreadlord still wandering back here, nearly level 10 on this Dreadlord. Infernal still chasing after all of these units. Are we perhaps going to have a Carrion Swarm go back the other way? Nope, just going to try and regroup here. We could see a little bit of a Holy Light. Knight trying to make its way back. We are summoning up a Haunted Gold Mine there as the castle is about to be destroyed. And I believe this is the beginning of the end now. We're going to see a little bit of, time buying. There goes another peasant again. Dreadlord takes another Holy Light, tries to head back off to the north. It's really going to come down to, who can do more damage to the other. Archmage finds the Acolytes trying to haunt this gold mine. Knights going to be more than enough to take on these unguarded Acolytes as the Knights going after these Acolytes again. Siege Engine down to 203 hit points, still getting chased by that Infernal again and again. Has nowhere to run off to. Castle is now destroyed as the Dreadlord sits at level 10 comfortably with a decent amount of mana. All right, Infernal can be resummoned in about 70 seconds. Dreadlord with still plenty of mana here. There goes a Holy Light. There goes another Knight. There's that sleep. So just making sure to sleep down the Paladin. And by sleeping down the Paladin, that means no more burst heal. 49 supply compared to 13. That Spellbreaker still somehow able to stay alive. Spellbreaker perhaps going to try and chase after that Obsidian statue. And the Destroyer heads into the skies instead. Paladin about to fall. He falls. And wow, GodFather, who was behind for so much of this game, able to outlast this 32-minute marathon of a match here on Tide Hunters. Let's take a look at the final score. The hero level, the major difference between these two sides here. Unit score, units killed by GodFather significantly higher, having a lot to do with the amount of Carrion Swarm there. Gold Mine, it felt like Human was going to be able to run away with this game, but that was definitely not the case. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.